Hi everybody, Mark from MT.TrainRestorations. Just wanted to do a little project today. This is actually a 350 transfer table. This is the top half. This is the piece that moves on the transfer table. I have another transfer table to the left of me because I had a couple of these, and this rides on the base piece. Anyway, I wanted to do a service on the motor. This one makes a loud noise when it runs. It shouldn't have to do that. So what I'm going to do is take this apart and we're going to fix it to where it's nice and quiet and clean it up and so on. So give me a second, I'll get prepared and we'll go from there. So the original video of the disassembly did not come out. It did not work. My camera failed. So as you can see, I have this already laid out on my table. All the parts and pieces that came out of the case, they've all been cleaned and ready to be put back together. I apologize for missing that part, but I will explain how it goes together in detail. So what we're going to do next is try to assemble this, and as you can see, I cleaned off all the parts, and excuse me, I took the liberty to solder on a new wire for one of the brushes because it was a little short. Let's see here, I do have the washer on here, I do believe. Yeah, the washer's here. On the armature, we cleaned up the commutators. When I took this out, if you remember, we were missing two washers. There's one that goes here and one that goes at the very end up here. So I did find these, which was pretty cool. I have one of these, which is nice, and I also found one that will work for the back of the gear. So we will do this, put this on, put this in. I just want to show you, this is how this goes. That goes as such. So the block gears, actually, once I put these two halves together, we'll do this a little at a time. This apparatus, this combo gear, these go with the, you can see how they're made. The bigger end goes to the gears. You'd find that out anyway when you try to put it in. So they go this way, and they fit into this block space. So it would go this way. The bigger gear would go up against the armature, like this. So you just pop that back up through the hole. You got the bearing washer on there, and this would drive this gear slowly. I mean, the armature's spinning 100 miles an hour to make this gear go. But that's how that is assembled. Now we got this piece. Let me put it back up here where it goes in its slots. So it's got its washer, gears, and that is that. Now this gear, pretty easy. I mean, it goes down in here. So once this all is driving, it may be hard to see the rotation of this because it is so slow, but it does turn. When you turn the armature, everything seems to move. This will go the slowest because these wheels really, they creep. So we're going to put some grease in all this. We're going to close this back up, and then we'll dress out the brushes, brush plate, and so on. So I just want to start kind of backwards. I'm going to take this out, put a little grease on it. I got my trusty little lube right here. And I'll use my, here it is, my X-Acto knife to dig out some grease. I got a lot of grease in my tube here, my trusty Lionel grease. I'm going to put some up in here as well for the other half. Get some actually on the teeth. You don't have to be real critical about it. We just want to make sure we get this greased up here, and which we are. So we'll get some grease in there. We'll grease these up. It's probably, you know, just get it around all the teeth on all the gears. Getting it on the shafts aren't really that important. It's not moving up against anything where there's friction. But back in here, we're going to get some grease down in here where it's moving up against something. If you recall, when we opened that up, there wasn't a lot of grease in there, but it was running, but it attributed to the noise. So I'm going to get some down in where the washers are, where it rubs up against the case, so on. Get some of this on the gear teeth, wherever we can. Oop, that fell off, and my little washer fell off. So we're going to get this propped back up and get that back on there. Okay, she's back on there. Good. Okay. Just make sure all the pieces are in there before we close her up. And get some down in here. Get some around that washer. Now, when this goes back together, the end of the armature worm gear shaft is going to fit into here. It's going to be down in here. So now that is accessible from the outside. So you'll be able to actually, once this is put together, get some oil on here occasionally, just to keep that lubed up inside there a little. We'll start off with some lube in there, and same with this nylon drive gear. They're actually exposed. You could probably after time get some oil around those if they start to get dry, but I don't think they will with the grease that's inside. But just a routine maintenance, just to make sure these points have a little lube, and I think we'll be fine. You know, it's not probably something you want to do every week or every month, is take this apart. Since this was probably since 1957, it could have been taken apart once. I think it was by somebody in a former life, because the washers that were supposed to be on there are missing. So anyway, I'm going to get a little bit more on here just to make sure we get gear on those teeth. There we go. Yeah, my tube of lube over time has struck a leak on the sides, a couple places. So it is what it is, but it's still good stuff. All right, I think we're okay there. So we're going to put this back on top. You'll see how that goes together. The armature. There we go. You can see a little bit of grease I caught up underneath there, but no big deal. Wipe that off. I'm going to put these screws back in. Make sure our armature's down in there. You can see when the armature reaches that point, like I said, you can always drop a little bit of oil in there over time to help lube that up. It does not have a ball bearing or anything like that, like some of the worm drive armatures do. Just slightly snug until we get the other one in. And we'll make sure we get both these screws in there as they were. Just like so. And now we can snug them a little bit more. There we go. Nothing needs to be over torqued. We're not talking about automotive or diesel mechanics here. So as you can see, these are the points that actually are gears inside that turn. These are the blocks. Just a hair drop of oil on those on occasion if needed, but like I said, I don't think that will be necessary. I think we'll be in pretty good shape. Got some, doesn't hurt to have a little lube inside those grooves for when we put the axles back in them. So that is that. Let's dress out the brush plate. Get these out of the way. It's not that difficult. Put the brushes in. Make sure if your brushes have a little notch on the top, that's for the spring to fit in. Just put that side in first. If they don't, some of the reproduction brushes don't have any groove on top. They just are blank on each end. So we know it's going to go together like that. So what we're going to do is, not to lose the brushes, we're going to tip them both together till we start getting these in the hole, and then we're going to push. There, brushes are in place. Like I said, there's a groove for the spring. I'm going to turn that brush a little, put the spring in it. There we go. Same with this. Turn that, boom. Whoop. Just turn that a little, get the spring in it. Okay, so that's how that goes. Let's put some, we'll put the screws in there. Make sure we get them, make sure the threads aren't crossed. These don't have to be over torqued either. We just want to snug them in there so it's tight. You don't want them rattling loose, but you don't want to crack the Bakelite brush head either. Okay, so that's together. I mean, that wasn't too bad at all. Again, remember, these aren't that difficult. I know it's a little scary when you see something like this. It comes apart. If you don't know how it's going to open up, and that happens sometimes, you'll pull these apart and all these gears will fall out, and you'll say, oh no, how were they in there? Just be very cautious. Take it off slow, kind of look in there to see what's happening, which side the gears are on. Usually when they are, examine it. When you see that there's things sticking out here and there, try to see where the seats are. Obviously, if I took this off upside down, this would have parts in it, or this may have parts in it. So just open it slightly and try to keep an eye on what's moving inside. So we're gonna move this over. I think we can slide these off for the moment. Slide that off. I'm gonna fold this up for more grease another day. You see how much grease I got off the old one. So I'm gonna save this here off to the side, put my grease on it. So get rid of that, bring in the table. Let's see what we have here. Okay, so back to the table. What we want to do before we get too far here. So here's the wheels. They have their, let's take this out altogether for you can see it a little closer. There's a notch right at the end of the axle where the C-clip goes on. These are rounded all the way till they get to the end, and they're flattened out, which fits in fits in these just like that. Fits inside there just like that. So I mean, there's not much we can do to these. You can clean them up a little bit if you want. The little grease that's on them is not going to hurt anything. It actually will help some. So what we're going to do is get some of this again. I'm just going to back these out a little bit. I'm going to put a little degreaser on my paper towel here and my CRC. Clean this area off here before we cover it up again with the motor for hopefully several years, or at least a year or two before I need to take that apart again just to take a check on it. If it starts making a lot of noise, I have another one over here. We can compare the sounds to see. That one, the other one I have, runs pretty nice. I took it apart a while ago and cleaned it all out and so on. When I first got it, it didn't even move. I mean, it would, and I think it crept forward maybe a quarter inch, and that was it. So, I mean, that's good. That means it has life in it. If it did nothing at all, made no noise, I'd be a little bit more worried. But if it makes noise, it can be fixed. Sometimes it won't make any noise, and it's as simple as a wire, a bad wire. Back this out a little bit more, get a little bit further over here and over here. So get a little bit. This one here was not too bad as far as being cruddy. The other one's pretty cruddy, but it runs good. It runs good. So I'm going to slide this back in, get the whatever's on there out. We want these to be kind of free of debris before we stick them into those nylon grooves. So back them out of the way so we can get the motor mounted. And now there's wires soldered underneath, so these tabs up here, they look kind of full, they look kind of messy with the solder, but that's because there's wires also coming from underneath. You can see the yellow, red, black, yellow, red, black. These are actually contactors, these copper spring-loaded contactors. I cleaned them with my fiberglass pencil to get these areas clean already. You could do the same, and that's what rides along. These ride on the rails of the base platform, which I'll show you here shortly. So here we go back to the motor was positioned this way. Brush, yellow goes over there, black was over here. So we want to go like such. So we're gonna put this back in. Make sure we get the wires placed under there before we tighten up the screws. Alright, so here's what we got. We want to get a screw started in here, which shouldn't be too bad, but they're short and I got gloves on and my thumbs are in the way. So let's see if we can get one. There we go. Okay, we got one started. See if we can get the other one. If we get this one in without a fight, that'd be a miracle. But there we go. Just gonna wiggle around a little bit. It'll seat where it needs to seat. Now, I got small. You can use a little bit bigger when you get a grip on it. You do want this to be snug. You want to have that where it needs to be. Okay, so back to, here we are. So brush, we'll get rid of that. And then we're gonna go yellow. Let me move these over a little bit. Make sure we have enough wire to get there. We do. So we just want to make sure that we have everything correctly in the right positions. And and we'll go from there. So I'm gonna get my little block of wood under here where I can see. You can use whatever. I just want to make sure you can barely see the copper sticking out. Slide that insulation back a little bit. Let me get another little pair of pliers in here. I'll hold on to the wire and just slide that insulation back a little bit before I can get this thing soldered on, and then we should be okay. So let's see here. I guess instead of stretching my wire, I'm going to move this over a little bit, give myself a little bit of slack, and then we can see if we can get this yellow wire on here without too much difficulty. Before I go too far, let me set this back down. That's not comfortable this way. Hopefully you can still see what I'm doing. I'm going to turn this hook a little bit and hook myself on there. That insulation, I didn't want to change the wire, leave the original as much as I can on these. I think is probably the best way to go. So let me get this on here like so. See if we can heat this up. I had to make a new tip, and it lasted a while, but it's gone. So I got this bigger tip. I make my own. I just use old wire, old copper wire. I think this is some number 12 wire or 10. And I also make some out of number 8 wire. And I can make it a little bit smaller and where it fits into finer places. Where the bigger, it doesn't do that all that well. But we shall see if we can get this heated up and get that wire on there. There we go. So that's one. Okay, let's see what the black one's doing here. I hate doing stuff with gloves on. I can't feel everything. It's hard to see this wire. I'm going to pull some of that insulation back off there. Oh, there it is. Got a little bit of wire. All right. We're going to kind of do the same thing. We're going to heat that up some more and push this wire right into that solder. I might have to get a little bit more solder. What do you say? A little more is not going to hurt. All right. Let me get that on the terminal. All right, let's see what we got here. Those are together. All right, so now we got the wires together, and we're gonna put the brushes on. I'm gonna slide that down. I know it's hard to see what I'm doing underneath there perhaps, but I just soldered the black on this terminal, the yellow on the far terminal. The red wire from underneath is on the red terminal, and we'll get back to that as well, because these come with a light. As you can see, there's a light underneath, so we have a hot and a ground that we want to apply to this. So we're going to hit the wire on the center, and we're going to hit this one on the neutral, and go from there. Then the little hut goes over top. But that's after we get this stuff put together. So let me see if we can get this brush on here. It's got some solder on it already. Let's see how we can get that back on there. I get a little solder on my gun here. It's hard to get this big fat tip in there. It's like trying to get in there with your thumb. Let's see how that's connected there. I just want to make sure I get a little bit more on there. All right, let's see here what we got. All right, so that one's on. Now this wire has no solder on it, so we're gonna put a little on here just to have it ready. I like to have wires with a little bit of solder. All right, here we go. Okay, that's a pretty good bite. So we're gonna curl that in a little bit. Want to make sure it's not in the way. So that gets us to where we want to be for, let's see, let's try it out. Let's see what it sounds like. You may not have, probably didn't, I don't think I played it for you before I started. It was very growly. But anyway, so now what's left is to get our wheels into our positions. Let's see, probably the best way to see this is right here. We're gonna watch that go into a little spot where it needs to fit. I'm gonna need both hands. I don't want to block what I'm doing for you, but I'm gonna have to get my other hand in there to get that positioned. I can't see in there. Okay, there we go. What the heck? Oh, I see. Okay. There. I couldn't see it. So it slipped in. So we want to slip the other one in the same kind of way. There. That one's it. So now the C-clips go on. Get one of these. I like to kind of get it in there with something small because my fingers are too big. Oop. Let me grab that. Get this in there. Okay, got it started. Push it on. There, that one's clipped on. Get this one in there. I know it's hard to see, but I think you know how a C-clip goes on. And there's a groove on that shaft that it anchors to. There we go. Is it on all the way? Yep. So now that's locked in place. So let's grab the other one. See, here's the other one I did. it's really quiet. So what we'll do, here's the main table. Now this is the main table. I'll spin this around. This is how this goes. These wheels fit on top of this inside, down in there. It fits down inside as such. Okay, let's get some of this junk out of the way so we can see what we're doing. Okay, so hopefully all right, so the wiring mechanism is very important. You need to have one of these button controllers. So this one here was kind of filthy dirty and in pieces, but each button, this is one button, this is one button, that's one button. This is where the light is, and I'll explain that in a minute. This is how, let me get this out of the way, move my solder, put my grease away, put that away, and we're going to slide this over a little bit. And I'm going to hook up the wires. So we have the hot one is the middle, sort of like the train rails, the train track. And I use this connector because it slides right over the pins. It's got track pins just like track does. This is the neutral rail. So I'm just going to put that there, kind of squeeze it around there, make sure we got contact. And then we have the part of the control rail is here. Whoop. And then hot. This hot goes, I don't know if you can see all this, but this hot goes to my alligator clip, which is connected to my transformer. My neutral clip is just going to be clipped on, and I can put it anywhere here. And let me turn my transformer on, put some power to it. Oh, there we go. Okay, keep your fingers crossed. We'll see what happens here. All right, so we want to make sure we have connection here, grounding here. All right, and give it some power. All right, we got the track sitting in place. That. Well, let's see here. Oh, I gotta connect something. Okay, over here. Okay, let's try it now. There we go. Now it should stop. Yeah. Now, when it stops, actually my little red light should come on, but let's see if that has enough power to do that. Maybe the bulb's out now, but the red light will come on, and it'll come on the little shed too when the bulb's in. And that makes this, let's see, let's try it. This should be live for a train could be driven off of it. So let's, oh, there it is. Okay, my grounding wire's not doing the best it should be doing. So we want to make sure our little switcher is switchable. There it goes. Okay. So when the red light comes on, the platform will stop there, makes this piece of track hot, just like on your layout for the center rail here, for you can move your train off that way or off this way. And once it jumps off onto your normal track, then you can move it onto your switch or whatever takes it to the main layout and go around. Then, if you want to take it and put it on a track, say it's over here, just take it south, bring it this way. When it's working properly, the red light should come back on. Or this will stop. Okay. Okay. Anyway, somewhere around here is another spot. There we go. Okay. Somewhere around here is another, there's a little groove in the blank rail that's next to the hot rail. It's hard to see. It's a little piece of the fiber Bakelite track system that has a little divot in it. And what it'll do is send a signal. It'll make the light hot. And that's where your position will be to take the train forward or backwards. See? That's how they work. And if you want to go back, go north. And it'll keep doing that, and it runs much quieter than it did. Oh my gosh. There we go. Maybe just a little off. There. It's just a, I mean, the timing of it, where the groove is, and being 60-some years old, it's not an exact science, but see, that's how that works. So, back together, much quieter. So what I'm going to do is lower my power here. I'm going to take this off and this one off, and we have another one here. Let's try it and see which one's quieter, because this one runs pretty quiet and smooth as well. Give it some power. Yeah, I think this one's quieter. I have a couple. I know they needed servicing. The little huts. This one has a bulb in here. I put it. Come on, can't grab anything with that. So this one here had this bulb in it, and it does work. At least it was working. So let me try this way. There we go. And I just have to solder the wires on. So let me do that. Let me see if we can get it to work right. So I got the shed put back on, wired to light up. See what's going on here. Oh, okay, we got power. There we go. Okay, let's go south. See what happens. Went a little far. There we go. Works as it should. So that's how it goes. I have an extra building. I have actually 3 of them, but 2 platforms. So I have a wire here. I got to wire that, fix that up for the other platform. But this is how the transfer table works. So that's that for this video. I will see you on the next one. MT Restorations at your service. So if you want to email me, please do so. MT.TrainRestorations@gmail.com. How's that? Send me an email if you have any questions, comments, whatever. Hope you enjoy these things. Please let me know. Subscribe would be great. And I'm going to turn out more as soon as I got my cameras all sorted out, because I've been having trouble, but I'm getting there. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.